So this is a video about the Power Instinct series. It has another name in Japan, which I'm not going to butcher the pronunciation, but I'll just put text up for that, otherwise we'll be here all day. The first game was released in November 2013 in arcades, and it also saw a release on the Super Nintendo and Mega Drive. It's a fairly straightforward fighting game. It has 8 characters, although there's some unique characters like the sisters, one of them who's the head of the clan, and from what I can gather the plot is every 10 years they have like a tournament to decide who's going to be the leader of the clan. They have these weird like fine denture attacks, and also if they do throws and stuff they can steal life force from their opponent and they can actually become young. So yeah, I mean it's a pretty decent fighting game, but it does feel a bit weird in the controls, and it's definitely an early game. It has this kind of Neo Geo vibe to it anyway. Then in 1994 you had a sequel, Power Instinct 2, which has 5 new characters, an addition of a super bar, better graphics, and also the transformations in the original game by the 2 older characters, but now there's some more from the other characters. So out of the 5 new characters, 3 of them can transform into different versions. Plus the music contains vocals, not often seen in fighting games. I think Killer Instinct may have been around about that time, but it certainly still wasn't that common. This did get a console release for the PlayStation in Japan under a name which I'll put up there as well. It is an updated version, has some additional things, but apparently the loading times are pretty bad when some of the transformations happen. You also get this loading, so not really too sure if that's really good, if it's a better version in the arcade or not though. This next game is called Gōketsuji Legends. They moved away from the Power Instinct titles from now on. This was only released in arcades in Japan in 1995. It's had a bit of a change. First you can select a partner and a leader character. It's like King of Fighters, once you knock out one character and the next one comes in. The cast is now up to 16 characters, and they introduce a new gameplay elements such as super blocking and charge attack moves. What I can gather, the super blocking means that you don't take any damage, and the charge attack moves, they act as a hard knockdown. It also looks a lot better as well. Kind of really hoping this one would have got a console release anyway, but you never know, they might come up with a Power Instinct compilation at some point, because Atlas is still around anyway. Then 1997 came Groove and Fight for the arcade and the Saturn. This was actually my first experience with the Power Instinct series, but to be honest this looks so different to all the others. I never would have made any connections at all, apart from just a few of the characters. It has a very different tone and look to previous games, with a lot more darker, different looking graphics, much smaller sprites, but better animated now. Well, it still has a bit of a sense of humour to it. It has now a proper tag system. It uses 6 buttons set up instead of 4. There are 11 characters, but I believe the Saturn version has a few extras and needs use of the RAM card. It's a very fun game though. It's probably the best played so far up to this point anyway. So yeah, it's definitely well worth tracking down if you can get the Saturn version anyway. Now the series had take a long break, and then it returned in 2003 with a new developer called Noise Factory, who actually made the Rage of the Dragons game, which has a few of those characters that actually appear here. It was a time when I sort of really got into the Neo Geo, and it was one of the earliest games I actually got. There are 15 characters to start off with, but there are 4 more unlockable. It has a different look to the previous games, but the graphics and the gameplay have been upgraded, and there's more super moves possible as well, because you now have 3 bars, and certain characters have different supers if you want to use 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar. It's such a really fun game. There wasn't too much information to look up in it online, so I really had trouble finding moves to it, but most of them are fairly straightforward. The music is pretty fun as well, and vocals. Then in 2006 they released an upgraded version for the PlayStation 2, updated graphics and more characters, although I think some of the Rage of the Dragon characters are not available anymore. It also includes game modes, including training mode, which has a moves list, which is very handy, because some of the moves weren't that obvious, and then you also have a card system as well, and it's definitely well worth tracking on the PlayStation 2, so it's a pretty fun fighting game. I just really like the way they upgraded the effects and stuff, made everything just look a bit more polished, I should say. Then the final one, that was released in 2009 in arcades in Japan. It now has 22 characters and updated graphics. Unfortunately, never saw a console release, and I have to say this one kind of took me by surprise. I didn't know about this one until actually fairly recently, in the past 12 months. So it's a pretty fun fighting game, I have to say. It definitely seems to have been polished. Really wish it did get a console version though, because that would have been pretty decent. Because you get to see all these new characters, and it seems to have that more complete cast as a lot of them. And you have that weird character called Prince who's got some really funny super moves and special moves, which is pretty decent. But yep, that's pretty much all. And now I think in games, I think there may have been the odd obscure card game as well, but I think that's basically all of them so far.